Hello, Carm Capriato here, and welcome to Town Hall Academy, episode 89. Prepare for an interesting discussion on the days you're open and the challenges to serve customers, to find the talent who wants to work only 5 days a week and earn, for you, an acceptable return for your business dollar. In 90 seconds, you're going to hear some great insights. Now, here's a taste.
I'd love to be able to give my guys 4-day weeks because in South Florida, there's lots of stuff to do down here. In my ads, I always write 4-day work week, or I write 5-day work week, or I write no Saturdays. I'm looking for an A-Tech, I write no Saturdays.
Welcome, automotive aftermarketers, to a Remarkable Results Radio Town Hall Academy. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results.
Hello, Carm Capriato with the repurposed podcast of our live Town Hall Academy titled 4, 5, 6 days a week. You decide. The team says there's not one simple answer to the number of days you're open. Hey, I want to thank Jasper Engines and Transmissions for making the Town Hall Academy free for all aftermarketers. In addition to the strict quality remanufacturing steps they take at Jasper, they can actually improve a drivetrain's components' original design so that it runs longer and better than when it was new. Check out their featured engine and transmission pages at jasperengines.com. Hey, I recommend you not being a short listener. Now, that means if you don't have the time to catch the entire episode at once, do it in shifts. When you leave your app, it remembers where you left off so you can get back to it. Now, why I mention this is that these aftermarket lessons bring value throughout the entire episode. Some of the best ideas come out at the end after everyone has their chance to shake down their thesis. Here with me in this episode is Tom Piippo, Tri-County Motors in Rudyard, Michigan, Bill Nalu, Interstate Auto Care, Madison Heights, Michigan, and Ollie Gelfand from German Car Depot in Hollywood, Florida. Learn how each defines or defends their days open and outlines the challenges each has in hiring, serving, and making money. Tom is a 4-day-a-week shop. However, Bill and Alan have their thoughts on how to create a 4-day work week for their team and still be there to serve their customers' busy lives. Show notes, bios, and links to my guests' previous episodes is at remarkableresults.biz/A089. Hey, I'm always open to topics you would like to have discussed on the Academy. Just write me. So great to have Bill Nalu from Interstate Auto Care, Madison Heights, Michigan with us. Say hi, Bill.
Hi, everybody.
Tom Piippo, Tri-County Motors from Rutland, Michigan. Tom.
Hey, everybody.
And Tom is off today because he's a 4-day-a-weeker.
It's my weekend.
Yeah, it's your long weekend. 3 times recognized ASE Technician of the Year. Congrats on that, as always.
Nice.
And Ollie Gelfand, German Car Depot, Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah, we're here.
I interview tons of aftermarket service professionals, and we don't necessarily get into the days that they're open. I usually know about it, but we don't hammer that home too hard. But a couple of the guys that have been open 4 days, I think I've always challenged them. And it was Greg Skolnick, one of the first guys back maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, I'm open 4 days. And you know what he says? I know I can make more money. I know I can do more volume. But this is where we sit in our mindset, in our culture. I'm not wearing out our people. And part of one of his strategies and rules were for his 4-day-a-weeker. And Greg, I hope I get this right. He says you can't do any side work. You can't take that Friday and earn. I want you to spend time with your family and do things. Have lunch with the wife, have a hobby. And he just loves it, and he won't change. Now, Tom, I really want to start with you. One of the things you told me was, oh, my God, a 3-day weekend every weekend. How do you get up for it on Monday morning?
Well, that is an issue with some of the techs I found out. They like taking a week off on vacation. You come back to work that first Monday. You're just kind of dragging. You wonder where you left off. It's hard to pick up the pieces and get rolling again. And that is a little bit of an issue when you do it week after week. I mean, you think you can get used to it, but 3 days off, you guys that only have a day and a half off between jobs, you can pick it up and roll with it a little bit quicker. But yeah, it is an issue. So
on Monday, are the bays full at 7 in the morning?
They try to be, which is another issue. Getting customers to want to do early drop-offs or drop-offs the night before. But with our culture in our little town here, we have some fleet accounts. We have a fleet manager that gets up at 3 a.m. So 7 o'clock is his lunch break, brings the vehicles down, and we get going right away.
Got it. Well, Bill, you're a 6-day-a-weeker. Tough to find techs today. I mean, is there a groundswell from techs who just want to work 5, or have they accepted that if sometimes they've got to work 6?
Let me confess first here is that I'm really not tied to one way or another, but coming from the fact that I'm an immigrant and the fact that my brother and I worked a year and a half, 7 days a week straight, 18-hour days, that's what it took for us to get here. Does it have to be for the rest of our lives? No. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the hour is what's your personal preference? And by the way, what's the preference of the customers? Are you able to bridge the gap? Can you have a 4-day business when we're living 7-day lives? And then there's this thing called time. That's the most valuable thing in the universe. How do we make the most of it in 24 hours, personally, professionally? That's what I'm hoping we're going to discuss. So I'm open. I'm open. I've been open. I've mentioned to my guys. I said, this is our shop. This isn't my shop. I'm just the caretaker. I'm just the guy that makes sure that we're doing things the right way. You guys tell me what you want.
Bill, if you put it up for a vote right now, private ballot, what would they pick?
We've tried. I said, I think we should go to a 5-day work week because forever and a day, it's no secret. We've had a hell of a time finding that 4th tech that's going to work within the framework of our culture. And so the guys want to work Saturdays because sometimes they like to have a Wednesday off or a Tuesday off. And we're flexible. I've got situations where the guys will say, you know what? I've got my daughter's dance recital tomorrow at school at 10 o'clock. Can I come in at noon? I should come in at noon. And that's how we've worked it. And there's sometimes you're working 50 hours, sometimes you're working 40, sometimes you're working 60.
So you've used Saturday to allow that flexibility in your people's life. They don't have to put in 6 days, is what you're telling me.
I'm willing to have them work 4 days, but we have a 7-day life that customers have to live, and so I guess this is my argument for working whatever days we want to work is can we work a 4 10-hour shifts? Can you have a crew where some guys want to work 4 10-hour shifts, others want to work a 5-day? You've got a guy that isn't married, doesn't have kids. He's just, all in as far as wanting to work as many hours as possible. He might want to work 6 days a week. Am I going to stand in his way? Now, as a 53-year-old, I'm going to say, you don't want to do this forever. You don't want to live for work. But who am I to say that to somebody? I did it, right?
It. Yeah. Yeah, Ollie, Bill brings up a great point. You were telling me, listen, if I could just find 2 more techs, I'm open 6 days a week, you could probably give these guys 4 10-hour shifts.
The thing about it is I put an ad in, I knew about the show, so I put an ad in Craigslist, which seems to be in South Florida a very good way to hire. ZipRecruiter kind of gets some higher-end guys. Haven't had much success. I think I hired my service advisor off of ZipRecruiter. But, I have a fairly large budget, I think, for a shop of my size, for a 5-guy shop. And I'm spending $600-700 a month on ads always for trying to recruit, going places trying to recruit. I have things where I'll give rewards to somebody who refers me, $1,000, $2,000, $2,500 I had for a BMW mechanic. And the ads that I put in, I wrote 4-day work week, open 5 days, 4-day work week, 8 o'clock to 5:30, 4 days a week. I got tons of response. And I didn't actually hire anybody off of it, but I will tell you one thing, putting that in the ad got a third, if not a half more responses. Got 25 or 30 responses of real people. I'm not talking about junk, but real people. Hired one guy. He loved it. He was a young guy. He just moved here, and he wanted to work. I have a base plus commission, so for every 5 hours, I'm going to earn more money per hour. He wanted to work 6 days a week, and he was working out okay. And unfortunately, I had some family issues, and moved to Orlando. So some lucky shop in Orlando is going to get them. Actually, a Volkswagen dealership. And that was the issue. Most of my guys have been with me for a very long time. Now, when my one guy who's been with me for 20 years, he worked 5 days a week. We're open on Saturdays, and everybody works Saturdays. We never rotated. The guys wanted to work Saturdays because we do 20 to 25% of our business on a Saturday. So we'll do $6,000 to $8,000, $9,000 in a good part of the year. $8,000, $9,000, $6,000 to $7,000 a day on a normal time. So the guys can turn a lot of hours and they make a lot more money on a Saturday. The guys who are older, they don't want to mess with Saturdays. So we can try to rotate them out a little bit. When I go to hire a person, I say to them, listen, I'm trying to find an A tech right now, a great tech. And I'll give them whatever they want. They don't have to be on base plus commission. They'd be on straight salary. Just tell them it's a 3-month probationary period. Would I want to be open? I always want to be open 6 days a week, but I wish my guys would only work 4 days a week. That would be ultimate for me. I can handle the service writing. Service writers just working 4 days a week, but the techs, I need to produce 160 hours a week minimum to make a great living. And unfortunately, I don't have a bunch of techs that can turn 50 hours, 45 hours, So that it all depends on me. It all depends on how many techs I can hire. I'm not greedy, so I don't mind if we turn to 155, 150 hours a week, but I don't have that super tech. And I know other people are saying, well, you've got to set your shop up so the guys can succeed and turn the hours they need to turn. Well, we do that. We put the cars for the next day in their bay and out in a close by parking spot. So the next day they're ready to go. And the smart guys will come in at 8 o'clock. Their office opens at 8. We start at 8:30. The smart guys come in at 8:15, 8 o'clock and cherry pick the great jobs. And he turns 45, 50 hours a week, my one gentleman. He's young. He's in his late 20s. He wants to work 6 days a week. He wants to work after work, and he knows he'll get burnt out on it. Like right now, he's on vacation, and he's taking 2 weeks off. We're super slammed and busy, but I gave him the 2 weeks off. He says, hey, Alan, I'll not take my vacation. I will put it off. Well, this kid hasn't seen his parents in 10 years, and he's going out of the country to see him. I said, what are you, crazy? But that's the kind of loyalty you build by taking care of your employees and giving them benefits and giving them $50.
It's a great strategy. Bill, I want to go to you because you're a 6-dayer like Ollie is. Did you ever think about putting the ad in to say, I really only want to work you 4 even though I'm open 6?
Well, the last ad that we ran was that we didn't lose anybody. We haven't. Knock on wood. I haven't lost anybody. What we're looking to do is to convert a 6-day shop into 4 or 5 day pieces. And so to the extent that we could get, 2.5 service writers doing 6 days, running a 6-day shop and a crew of maybe 4 to 6 guys in the back room, each one of them at 100% productivity, that 6th day, this is the one thing that I think for all of us that have been doing this for this long, it's easy. Again, it's easy for us to say, for the first half hour, I just want to be an advocate for the 6-day shop, and then you'll see, I'll flip it because it really isn't. So, you've got to outrun your expenses. The amount of rent that you pay for this building is based on 30 to 31 days a month. So to the extent that you have more production days, allows you to be able to outrun your expenses faster. And so does that mean that, you can make 2 or 3 more days of profit? A lot of us don't realize that you really don't make any money until that last week of that month. Your overhead is eating up 75 to 80% of your expense, of your income. And so that last week, those 5, 6, 7, 10 days mean everything, because the more you can squeeze out in production, the more money everybody makes.
I'm with Ron Haugen of Westside Auto Pros. Hey, Ron, why purchase a Jasper engine for your customer's car?
The main reason we use Jasper is they're known for quality, and we're known for quality. They line up with my company and my company's commitment to our customers. As a product, they're committed to me.
Hey, Ron, are customers investing in their vehicle today?
Absolutely. We see the surveys from AAA and all the different people out there where the average age of a car on the road is 11 years old. Some are even saying 12 now. When you think about that, for every new car sold, that means there's a 22-year-old car being driven on a daily basis. To me, that's amazing. The only way we get an average age of a vehicle on the road like that is because people are reinvesting in a car. And I think the reason they're reinvesting in a car is the cost of a car. I mean, cars are $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. Why not drop $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 into repowering the vehicle and get it back on the road?
Hey, Ron, thanks for your insights on Jasper.
Thanks for asking.
Let me ask a question about efficiency and productivity of the tech. If you're having a bad week or two, sure, you wish you had more days in the month. But if you're really humming and really, well-tuned, you could probably do it on a few less days, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse. I can't give you an excuse in saying we can't do what we do now in 5 days. If you had a gun to my head and said, you're going to do this in 4 days, we'd do it in 4 days. Anybody with a gun to their head is going to do it. Why we do it with 6 days? I don't know. I come from a 7-day-a-week, shell business, that we ran all those years. So
one less day was a vacation for you.
That'll never change. That'll never change for me.
Okay, let's talk about the value of day 6, Saturday. What does Saturday really mean to the next week?
Yeah, it means your merchant account's going to get loaded up with a lot more cash on Monday. See, a lot of times, as far as cash flow goes, a lot of times with our business, we're lucky if we collect on cars from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday, until late, maybe Friday. So you're talking about, $25,000 or $30,000 plus the money you've laid out for all the other jobs that you've got in the shop. So we're talking about $50,000, $75,000. We do a lot of big jobs. We are a German-only car shop. And we lay out a lot of money. And as much as we try to get deposits from customers, we try as hard as we can. I have 2 service advisors. I want to knock them over the head sometimes. We've got some gigantic jobs that screws your parts to labor ratio off because the engine costs a lot. You don't make a ton on it. But it's a fairly simple job installing the engine, very time consuming, but fairly simple. I've got one gentleman who just knocks stuff out. He's the one who knocks out of the ballpark everybody. He's always over 40 hours. And the funny part about it is Tom Ham once said to me, some guys, it's more important. There's 2 mentalities. They think more about how much they make or they want more private time. So you've got different mentalities. This gentleman I'm talking about right now, his name is Milton. He took his first vacation in a couple of years, and he gets 2 weeks paid vacation. And I'd rather not pay him the money and not take his vacation. I'd rather have him take the vacation. So the 6 day a week for me, we're one of the few German specialty shops that are open 6 days a week, and our Saturdays are very busy. Now, if we do too many oil changes on too many new cars, that'll ruin that number. I mean, the number will get killed. So we're very precise in our scheduling on Saturday.
Let me challenge your thinking on that. They love you. You're a German specialty shop. They want to be there. If you were open 5 and you could do all the same amount of money in 5, would those people bring their oil changes during the week, or would it really hurt you from getting these really big jobs done?
I don't think it hurt the big jobs as much, but because Saturdays we don't really do anything. We don't dive into diagnostics deep. We don't do any big jobs.
So Saturday's a pickup day.
Saturday is a day for future recommendations because we always get too many oil changes. But quite honestly, when we schedule, we try to make sure that we don't make available a person who's got a 2 or 3 year old car under lease, or a person that's got really low, under 15,000, 20,000 miles on their car to come in on a Saturday. I mean, we do have to do that. Don't get me wrong. But we try in my marketing and with my guys who answer the phone to talk those people into another day. We'd rather give them a ride to work. We actually also have 6 loaner cars in South Florida. That's kind of rare for independent. We have 6 loaner cars, which we never have enough of. And then once you give a person a loaner car, they expect it every time for the littlest repair. But I would love to be open 5 days a week, not be open Saturday. Sure, it would be wonderful. as soon as you guys can figure out a way, as we talk every week on this show just about and look at everybody talking about it, find and get more technicians. Until I can turn that 160 hours a week with what I've got, I'm fine. I'm more than happy to pay another technician really, really well. I don't know what other people pay their technicians, but these guys, if they turn their 40-something hours, they're making $30 an hour, which is good. They're getting health insurance. We're matching them 2% on their 401ks. What more can I do for them? One guy would make a special exception. He has to pick his kid up a couple days a week, so he leaves at 4:30. Fine, I don't mind.
This is the thing that I think we're missing on this is Saturdays for us. A lot of times people say, well, you guys actually, fix cars on Saturday. Well, yeah, we fix cars on Saturday. But when we don't have the parts and when we don't have the time, we're staging them for Monday and Tuesday. Where do you think we get why do you think that some shops that are open 6 days don't have car count problems? Is because that Monday and Tuesday is fed by that Saturday business. And, can you bridge the gap and go 5 days? Of course you can. Yeah. You've got a whole fleet of loaner cars out there. You say to the customer, you can drop off your car on a Saturday. You don't even have to be open. You can drop off your car on a Saturday. Our lockbox can have 2 or 3 vehicles in them. They could fill out the paperwork digitally or mail the rental car agreement, take the vehicle and go. So this is not a situation where we say that, we have to be open 6 days because the business has to survive. And I think maybe you tell me if you agree with this, Ollie. My business wouldn't somehow disintegrate if we somehow jumped off of 6 days or 5 days. It's just that somehow you found a niche for yourself, and the niche, like I'll just give you an example to its extreme. When I was a shell dealer, we were open 7 days. We were open 7 days and we did full service 7 days a week. I mean, we had parts, we were doing a timing belt job on a Sunday. And so we'd had people driving we had a towing business. And so we ran a 7-day business. It was my brother and I, we had 3 full-time techs, and it was insane. It was crazy.
Do you take blood pressure medication now?
No. I'm having more fun than ever before. But the point is there weren't kids, and it was all about building this thing. And so at some point, once we've built it to wherever we think it's built, now comes the father time come along and says, okay, here it is now. Hopefully in your wise years, can you slow it the hell down a little bit here? How much more money do you need here? So if sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, that's precisely what this conversation is all about.
Tom, you're the odd man out. So interesting.
Yes, I am.
Here's Ollie, who loves his 6. Bill, who's 6, but would go to 5 in a minute.
6. Stop. I don't love my 6.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. But
I'll do 5, but find me 2 more techs.
I get you 2 more techs. And Tom, what's good about your life and your business as a 4-day week shop?
Well, I'm listening to you guys talk about your Saturdays and getting all this stuff done. And I'm thinking, geez, my Saturdays, I'm out hiking in the woods. I'm tending my campfire out at the campsite. I'm tilling up my garden. I'm enjoying life. I've been doing 4 days for 12 years, since 2006. A little bit tough to get the customers on board at first, but in my unique position, I don't have much competition here. The next shop is maybe 20 miles. I've had a loyal following. It used to be if I wanted to take a week's vacation, I would just close up the shop. I'd take off. We'd go out to Apex and SEMA, and we'd take an extra 4 or 5 days and tour the desert and come back a week and a half later. And my customers were waiting for me. They were waiting with flat tires that they never took anywhere else to get fixed. I mean, I had this loyal following, and life was great. And they said, boy, I couldn't wait till you got back because you're the guy for us. That being said, I mean, I know you guys are in metro areas, and if you're not going to do it, somebody else down the street's going to do it. And if your price is too high, they're going to go down the street. I don't think I'm overpriced, but I think I've got a good value for all my customers. Some of the guys that run shops that are not, they're just maybe running out of the garage behind their house or something. Now, Michigan's got some repair laws. They have to be registered and all that, and some of them are. But they don't have a lot of overhead, so they don't charge a lot. So I'll take it to the fellow in my church, and he's going to put brakes on for $100. Well, that's fine. But, for those people who need a full-service garage like ours, they keep coming around. I mean, they've learned that we're open at 7 a.m. and they really enjoy that. Say they go to work at 8, so they pop in at 7:15 or 7:30, and we can have a conversation. We can go for a test drive together. Really talk about their vehicle a little bit instead of reading the envelope in the drop box. How much information does that give you? You're lucky to get a signature sometimes.
Approximately how many cars a day do you do on a weekday?
Oh dear, we do 160 a month in 16 days, so 10 a day. And I have 2 techs myself in the shop. I have a service writer, and I'm between the service writer and the techs all day. So I turn a few hours myself, but not a lot. Our ARO is lower than some, higher than others. We're on about 425 on an ARO.
And you're in the country. How many people in your town?
Our town sports about 500 people. Yeah. When I say small town, you guys think small town is 20,000. No. So our parts stores, our closest parts store is 8 miles away, but we get hot shot deliveries from Sault Ste. Marie, 20 miles out. But, customers don't come that far. So my customers are mostly local. You have conditioned your customers. Bill, Ollie, can you condition your customers?
We have conditioned our customers. Now we're up to, I want to say a little bit over 50% appointments. We used to be virtually none. Of that 50%, I could say 20% of that's emergency stuff. So we're probably more like 70% appointments, except for the emergencies, So
100% appointments for us.
Right. So you're lucky about that. But the problem is in our block, if you drive to my shop, I'm off a side street. You're going to go by at least from I-95, we're about 2 miles off there. You're going to go by at least 15, 20 shops.
Oh, wow.
They're less money than us. We're to the higher side, but we get it right very often. As you can see, our reviews of 1,800 of them. And we have our share of we have a very small quantity of low quality reviews. And of those low quality reviews, a lot of them are bitching about price. We're the dealer alternative. So the dealers by us are open on Saturdays, and Rick Case is open on Sundays, okay, for most of all their brands. And it's a skeleton crew there, but we can get parts from WorldPac, IMC, Northside.
Your dealership alternative.
There you go. So we can get literally every day of the week at least 15 runs a day of parts companies, okay? WorldPac's 4 times a day, and they're located, they're Hollywood stores, 5 miles from us. Their Fort Lauderdale store is about 10 miles from us. So one of our runners, car wash guys, can get parts. So parts is not an issue. There's always somebody working nights at my shop too. I mean, the young guys, not old guys. There's always somebody turning up, putting an engine in, doing a head at night. They make extra cash for them.
Ollie, Bill, let me ask you both a question because I think you guys are numbers guys. Have you ever actually just quietly one day sat down in the office for a few hours and tried to figure out via a spreadsheet or a yellow pad how a 5-day-a-week business would look? Have you ever done the math? What you'd have to do?
I was told that there was going to be no math problems on this podcast.
I'm sorry, man.
I couldn't survive because it'd be about 20 to 25% less business. Now, some of those people would come on the weekdays, but you got to understand, I don't know what your new customer acquisition is like, but we get about 50 to 55 new customers a month. It's about 21% new customers. Can never beat it. Been trying for years to beat 21%. Can't do it.
It's great.
So on Saturdays is when the new customers come. And believe it or not, people all the time tell us this. They drive by our shop before they actually come to our shop.
Oh, that's human nature.
Our building is awesome. I built out a new building in 2006, totally spent too much money. And now a lot of other shops around us have got nice waiting rooms and a nice shop and a beautiful looking building and parking lot. But people with high-end cars check you out.
Yeah.
So Saturdays on average, there's at least 6 or 7 new customers that really, I don't think, would be able to come to us if we weren't open on Saturdays, just because of the reason they work every day. So granted, we get a lot of referral business and people like our reviews and somebody knows somebody. But nowadays with Yelp, if you can stay good on Yelp, if a shop's got 50 reviews or more on Yelp and they're reasonably recent, that shop's probably doing good customer service, because it's the hardest thing on earth to do is to keep Yelp happy. And in South Florida, there's a lot of tech savvy people, even older people. They have Yelp on their phones, and they know it's an extortion tool to make sure they get what they want. They use that extra coupon they downloaded and want to add it with ours, our competitor's coupon. When BMW is doing this $79 oil change for a 6-cylinder, they want to use it in our shop. We take it. But Saturday is an acquisition day for us a lot. It's a get acquainted. I would say there's 1 or 2 people that come by just to introduce themselves and want to talk to us about a problem with their car. So I don't work Saturdays, but my 2 service advisors do. But I did work Saturdays for years. But at 54, I don't think I need to anymore.
Have you ever thought about taking a Monday off instead of a Saturday?
Myself or the shop?
Well, for the shop, to give you guys a 5-day week. Choose a different day.
Mondays are so packed, it's off the charts. Saturday, well, it's something that would have to be looked at because, we're so used to loading up Mondays and Tuesdays with the work we get on Saturdays because we don't do a lot of diag on Saturdays. So what we love is maintenance on Saturdays, and that's what we try to push for. We're not always successful at it, but we're not going to spend 3 or 4 hours on a diag on a car on a Saturday. It's just rarely,
Yeah. So we were on the Costco vendor network. We're a preferred vendor for Costco. And we are also there's a Sam's Club within a mile of us here. There's a Discount Tire. What is their busiest day of the week? Have you seen a Costco parking lot or Sam's Club parking lot? They're open on Saturdays. It's a zoo on Saturdays and Sundays.
You can't go near the place.
And so where do you think we get all of our new customers? Where do you think I get to not have to invest in Google AdWords and invest in all the advertising stuff that we do? We don't need to do advertising because we've got the folks coming in the door. Besides the fact,
Bill, would they have done business with you if you were not open Saturday?
Well, the problem is at the tire center. That's where Saturdays are a ridiculously busy day. So what we do is we'll book those appointments. And so what ends up happening is that alignment comes in. Turns out it needs $500 worth of front end work. We may not be able to get the parts today, and I hand them one of the loaner cars. And we just acquired a new client. We just converted a customer to a client. Forget about the dollars here. This is a typical interaction that happens on a Saturday because things are a little bit more dialed down. I had a lady with her daughter come in. She was a Costco referral, just a wonderful lady. She comes in. I'm at the service counter just kind of doing some paperwork because it's a day that I can do some stuff on the side too. She plops down a can of pop on the counter and she says, I'm like, what are you doing? She says, I'd like to pay you for this. I'm like, did you see a price tag on anything on the refrigerator? She says, well, no. I said, no, there's no charge for this. She says, that's kind of odd. And then she walks away and comes back. She said, well, at least let me have some quarters for the arcade machine. I look at her and I said, did you see a quarter slot in that arcade? She says, I get it. But what my point is Saturdays are a day where you're going to have more people waiting in the waiting room. And if you have the kind of waiting room that you've invested in, I know I haven't seen it at Ollie's, but I've put a fair amount of money in ours. It's a living room. You wouldn't be able to tell it's an auto repair shop. So you can have a seat, there's Wi-Fi, and there's refreshments, and there's a loaner car. We'll Uber you wherever you want. And then we have a mall down the street from us. So Saturdays are a day where people it's a different kind of customer walking in the door on a Saturday.
Bill, Ollie says his business is 20 to 25% on Saturday. Have you ever calculated yours?
So this is interesting. Non-holiday weekends, Saturdays are every bit as profitable as any other day of the week. You just can't measure it that way because the work isn't necessarily getting done on Saturday. It's feeding Monday and Tuesday. I can't stress that enough.
All right. So one more thing. Are you working every Saturday, Bill?
No, not necessarily. No.
How many Saturdays are you working?
There's a couple of Saturdays during the month is when I'll come in. But again, it's for me. So for me is I'm having more fun than I've ever had before. Would I like to do some hiking? I can. But the way I would answer Tom is that I can do, if I just hired my replacement, I can do that without the business having to go to a 5-day work week. We can all work 4 days a week. Hell, I could work Tom Ham is my hero. I don't even know when he's in Florida or not anymore. He should just get himself a Cessna and just fly back and forth. Now that's somebody I'd like to emulate. Does the business have to be a 5-day work week if I don't work in it 1 day a week? Can we just all go work at a 4-day work week?
Hey, let's plan to go visit Ollie.
Yeah.
Let's do a shop tour at Ollie's.
Tom is my hero too. Actually, in 2007 or 8, him and Deb came to my shop and organized it, and they came there for like a couple of weeks. And of course, I've blown all of his systems by then because we were the most profitable we ever were in our history of the business when he got me all set up. And it's gone away a lot. It's my fault. But I throw stuff by him all the time. Everybody's got the same problems finding techs, and that's what these shows are all about. I watch your shows all the time. And, I have a friend of mine, fairly decent friend. He's got a shop that has 14 or 15 guys. I do every 2 weeks with Interstate 22 batteries. He does 90 batteries every 2 weeks. This guy is a very busy shop. People bitch that their cars are there for 2 and 3 weeks. He's got the gift of gab. The man is 84 years old. He drives from Boca Raton to Hollywood every single day with his son in a separate car. And they're open the shop at 7 in the morning. He's been doing that for 45 or 50 years. It's just in him. Why is my doctor still a doctor? He's loaded. You still need to be a doctor at 70-something years old seeing patients all the time? No. That's all they know. So I'd love to be able to give my guys 4-day weeks because in South Florida, there's lots of stuff to do down here. Now, the question here, Carm, is it the shop being open 5 days a week, or the shop being open 6 days a week, or the shop being open 4 days a week, or the techs and the service providers working less or more? Definitely, I could convey the message if I could talk to the person who looks at my ad. Tom Hem says something, they look at my shop and they see we're open on Saturdays, and a lot of guys who would maybe apply don't apply because they say we're open on Saturdays. So basically, in my ads, I always write 4-day work week, or I write 5-day work week, or I write no Saturdays. I'm looking for an A tech, I write no Saturdays because that definitely turns off guys. But the dealerships down here, they got to work 2 Saturdays a month. Almost all the dealerships, the techs work 2 days a month. Now, in a little area, like Tom's lucky, he's in a smaller area. I'm sure your dealerships aren't open on Saturdays and Sundays, right?
No, they're not.
But are they selling 700 to 1,000 cars a month? I don't know.
No, they're not.
We have the world's largest Volkswagen dealership and the world's largest Audi dealership and the world's largest Porsche dealership within 15 miles of us. Okay, so why can't I hire more guys? That's the question for me. And then I'll open 4 days a week, and everybody will be much happier. My guys get so stressed out sometimes, and they need that 2-week vacation. People get burnt out, and I envy you in that you can be able to work. And Tom Ham, the same thing. He has his guys working 4-day work week. He's open 5, I guess. But how do you guys do it? I mean, I went to Ratchet Wrench Show and watched guys who have 15 shops, 5 shops, 8 shops. To me, they must be magicians because they find techs. They pull them out of a hat. I
think it's a full-time job for them to do that. Remember, I just mentioned that we should go down to Hollywood, Florida, and have a shop tour. Well, we are having a shop tour November 2nd in Las Vegas. And I'm actually doing my live show from Frank's place. That will be at 9 a.m. or 12 Eastern, right? 9 a.m. And our topic is going to be the value of shop tours. And I believe there are going to be a dozen people just hanging out while Frank is doing some shop tours. Although I want Frank to be on the show, I think it's going to be a hoot. And if you are going to be there, look up Frank's European, set your GPS.
He's got a beautiful shop.
Yeah, I know he does. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I did the live show from there last year, and he just made some really big enhancements and blew open a new door in his place. It's a great place. So here's a question, everyone. What are your hours during, Tom, you're 4. What are your hours every day?
7 a.m. till 6 p.m. We do close noon to 1 for lunch. The guys figure they need a nap in the middle of a 10-hour day.
Man, I love that. You just take care of your people, and that's the country life.
Yes.
What day would you open?
Monday through Thursday. Yep, Friday's Thursday night's my first Friday night.
I think in South Florida people would die if they couldn't get their car fixed.
Well, I would not have a problem being open 7 days if I could rotate my guys through it. The problem is my shop culture is me. People look for me. I've been here 40 years. It's a small town. Everybody's always known me. And they're afraid that if I'm not here, they won't be taken care of. I've tried that before. I tried being open Saturdays way back.
That's something Tom Ham taught me about a long time ago. Alan, you need to be upstairs in your shop. You have upstairs and downstairs. You need to be upstairs. You even move your office upstairs. Remove yourself from the people.
Yeah.
Get your work done. And I would say literally half my customers don't even know who I am. They know that Alan Ollie Gelfand owns the shop, but they don't know who I am. I can walk right past them. And at times that's good. Yesterday, I walked up to a lady who was outside in the parking lot. She was really pissed. I could tell she was angry. She wasn't yelling or anything like that. She said, I said, oh, can I help you? Because I text everybody an hour after they leave the shop. How is everything? Would you recommend us? And she said, who are you? I go, I'm Alan. I'm the owner of the shop. And she goes, oh, Ollie, yeah. I go, yep, Alan and Ollie, same name. Long story short, she had a check engine light, and it came back 3 times. Little did I know, because I was outside, that it happened last year, and then it happened like 6 months later, and then it happened now again, and they were totally unrelated. But I did schmooze her over. She was going to sell her car. She had an older Beetle, but perfect condition, a 30,000-mile 2005 car in perfect condition. But she said, I did a spreadsheet. I spent $5,000 on this thing. I go, over how long? She goes, well, since I bought it. I said, man, you're doing good. And changed her around. Last night, she emailed me about 7 p.m. I always check my email. I emailed her back, hey, listen, tomorrow I'm going to look into it. And I called her this morning, and I totally chilled her out and calmed her down. She'll keep that car for another 5 years. But the thing about it is, it comes back to that great question. Like you said, you would be open 7 days a week if you could find the techs to do it and the manpower to do it. But until Carm figures it out, then we're stuck.
Oh, the weight of the world happens to be on me. Okay, great. Listen, this is the idea starter here. Maybe we can get a groundswell. Bill, what are your hours?
7 to 6 Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays 8 to 5.
Oh, wow. Big day on Saturday. Long day. And Bill, it seems like the reason you're doing the 8 to 5 is because of your relationship with the big box stores.
I mean, we're in Metro Detroit. We're like Ollie, I mean, this is millions of people, in this metropolis. And, and it's fun. I mean, I had a Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, customer of mine, I shouldn't say fun. It was actually, it was heart-wrenching. A customer of ours, last time they were here before the remodel, took a picture of him and his wife. Our deal is if you fall asleep on our reclining couch, we take a picture of you and you go on our Hall of Shame. So this time he comes in alone and his wife passed away, 50 years old. And it was unexpected. And so here's a situation when 2 men are just kind of sitting there, two fathers, 2 husbands, and we're having a conversation about what it must be like, well, what it is like to lose your spouse. Where do I go to have that kind of interaction? And so I'm enjoying myself in all these years. I'm enjoying myself more than I've ever enjoyed myself before. Hiking would be wonderful. It'd be fun. But I'm having just as much fun right now as I've ever had before. And I'm not lying to myself. I mean, this is from the heart. The interactions that we have with these customers. Am I working a little too much? Yeah, absolutely. But I have a plan. I will be Tom Ham one day.
Very good. Well, guess what? Time is ticking here, Bill. Time is ticking.
Real quick, I'm open 8 to 5.
Yes.
Days a week, but the shop opens at 8:30. We close from 12 to 1 for lunch, but the office is open between 12 and 1. Yeah. But we have 24-hour pickup and drop-off, which we advertise very heavily. Lots of key lock boxes, lots of codes to the gate, and a lot of people drop their cars off.
Very, very convenient. Very, very convenient. Hey, I want to read a comment from Bambi, who's on with us, and she says, I have another shop owner here right now with us from Little Rock, Nigel from Nigel's Place. He says this 4-day work week is brilliant because he can run 4 10-hour days, then 3 10-hour days. So he can almost double his money every week. A 4 and a 3. A 4 and a 3. That's really good. What do you think of that?
The life is happening at 7 days a week. Where we want to engage,
but Bill, it goes back. You've said that a couple of times, and I embraced that in the beginning. But now I'm going to challenge you by saying, well, so do your people's lives happen for 7 days a week, and family, and sports, and time off, and time to recharge.
No, nobody's saying that we all have to work 7 days a week, or 6 days a week, or 5 days a week. We can work 4 days a week. Let's just pick. Let's rotate. What do hospitals do? I mean, does a hospital shut down? Are we not a hospital? Are we not a hospital for the transportation sector?
We don't charge enough.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. That's a whole other topic there, right? But
hey, guys, I don't think we're going to actually come to a critical solution here or critical mass, but I think what we have done is we have excited a dialogue. Guys, as we always do, we'll go through a 2-minute summary. We'll give you each a chance to say a few things. Bill, I'll start with you.
The fact that we're independent service providers is probably the best thing that could ever happen on this here. And that is that we get to choose whatever the hell we want to do. And it's not even set in stone. It's set in mud. We change it next week and we go right back to wherever that's the beauty of being independent. We get to choose that, and we can run the same exact businesses on however many days we choose to do that. That is if there's anything that I could leave folks with, is that you'll figure it out for yourself. You'll decide. Just hopefully we're not figuring this out. And we're having this conversation one day after somebody's done this, in 20 miserable years, feeling like he or she is a victim. They're literally enslaved by this business. That would be the tragedy of it all. And if you feel that way, then no amount of less days are going to solve that. If you're miserable 4 days, it's not going to solve that. But that would be where I would leave it at.
Very good. Tom, I'll let you go next. Thank you, Bill.
Well, I might be in a little bit different position than you guys. I hear you talking about rents and leases and new buildings. I've been in this building 40 years. Everything's paid off. I don't have any overhead anymore. I don't have any debt. So I don't have to work that extra day, that extra couple days to pad the bank account for all that. My equipment's paid off. Life is grand for me. I mean, I'm 62 years old. Probably go another 10 years here before I start slowing down. I love it. I love it. Something I just want to touch on, we talked on it first, is there's no good techs to hire anymore, or there's very few. You got to steal them away, or you got to have to mentor them. 2 years ago, I spent thousands of dollars of ad looking for a tech, any tech. I had flyers on the tool truck, so I was paying the tool guys to give these flyers in techs' hands. I gave them $100 spiffs. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I finally hired the guy who was selling me the newspaper ads because he thought he might want to be a technician. And he's probably the best employee I've had in 40 years. He's still with me today and coming right along. He's 45 years old, by the way. He was not a young man.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you want to grow up and be like Tom. All right. Hey, a great comment from a great friend, Gary Keys, who's out there. Should this be the I Love Tom Ham episode? I love it. By the way, I also love Tom Ham.
Job should be, he figures stuff out.
Yeah.
And if you look at his latest survey, what's the average hours that most techs churn? I think the highest rating was in the 30s. So, my quick take on this is, yes, less days would be great for everybody. It's a stressful business, especially with very complex, complicated cars, especially with having to send your guys to schools and have only 2 guys on a Saturday and try and get the work done and piss customers off. So we're doing a lot more training. We need to send guys away for that. Unfortunately, not enough around here. So I think the key to this is we have to get a culture going in the youngest people in middle school. That's cool to be a tech. Get more of these stupid reality shows to make it look fun and cool because that's what they watch. I don't. And then we can all work 4-day weeks and everybody will be happier.
Okay. By the way,
all right. Thank you.
Could I add one more thing?
Please, Tom.
Sure.
Something else we've incorporated with our establishment is a training day. Every Tuesday, we knock off work a half hour early. We knock off at 11:30. I have a separate facility, our training facility. We have a full kitchen in there. My wife makes lunch for the guys. It's completely optional if they want to do it or not. Nobody's ever said, no, I don't want to do it, because she's a really good cook. And we do, everybody's got these boxes of training videos sitting around and nobody ever watches them. This is my way to force feed my guys. We do live webinars if there's something available. We could possibly even watch Town Hall Academies. But this is our time to have our shop meetings and do our training and stay current with everybody.
Another great takeaway from Town Hall Academy. Thank you so much. By the way, Tom Ham's a great friend of the show. Just go to my website, type in Tom Ham, and just listen to this extremely brilliant, bright, and opinionated automotive aftermarket peer of yours. Thank you all so much. Town Hall Academy number 89. Bill Nalu, Ollie Gelfand, and Tom Piippo. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
And don't work too hard.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time,